In 1972, the video game industry took its first breath. Pong, created by Alan Alcon, featured 3 blocks on a screen, growing rapidly over the decades, creating an entire new medium of entertainment for the planet. With every new release, rendition, or remake, offered something new to the genre that was never presented before. Expand that concept over a couple of decades and you're looking at an entirely new industry. Video games, over the last 20 years, have gotten a massive facelift. They're smoother, prettier, more engaging, and have all kinds of connectivity and features, allowing the player to discover a variety of different worlds and situations, making the games increasingly more complex and intricate. But what if that's a bad thing? If you look at the top-selling games from the last 2 decades, you could slowly recognize a trend. They're all sequels. It might be due to the game's initial popularity, or more likely due to the new cost of making these shiny games. From 2001 to 2013, the price of making a headline video game has gone up by 886%. Throwing in these engaging features, which have now become standard in the industry, makes it hard to introduce new concepts in the marketplace. It is also extremely cost-effective to reuse the models and codes from the last game to make the sequel. But these inbred concepts slowly start to deteriorate the original golden idea, resulting in a watered-down copy of what used to be an amazing experience. Pokemon is the poster child of this effect. In February of 1996, Pokemon Red and Green was released to the American audience, featuring a new style of portable gaming, allowing players to intuitively explore the world, collecting and battling monsters, selling over 45 million copies worldwide, and distributing entertainment over a variety of mediums, creating such a simplistic formula to be duplicated in further releases. Catch 100 Pokemon, beat 8 gyms, become champion, and credits. Adding in new features and complexity after every release so it hooks players. Instead of creating actual content that complements the last game, developers would rather stretch the idea until it breaks. In 1996, 45 million copies were sold, but in 2013, when Pokemon X and Y was released, it only sold 14 million copies. The company's arrogantly ignoring the obvious result with this course of action. Other companies think the solution is just making more content to keep this effect at bay. Bethesda, a prestigious company responsible for making the Fallout franchise, still succumbs to the effortless route of making more content, but less game. When the franchise switched to a third-person platform in 2008, it allowed their amazing concept of a post-Red Scare wasteland to actually be explored. Fallout 3 challenged what was possible for a single-player game and had hundreds of hours of content to be played. Fans eagerly waited for the release of Fallout 4 in 2015, featuring new modes of transportation, interesting dialogue,
Let's go, pal,
and settlement building. The game, however, had an almost empty feel after the rebooted nostalgia vanished, a result of pointless features that didn't provide actual entertainment, just selling factor. In Fallout 3, there's about 124 hours of total content, and your average player experiences about 94 of it. While Fallout 4 had more content, an impressive 153 hours, players only spent an average of 36 hours on the game. Bethesda invested too much energy in trying to sell the game rather than actually making the game interesting. I understand, from a business perspective, that this is the smartest way to make a product. Consumers trust the previous product, so they'll throw money at the new shiny game, but this will destroy an entire series if done incorrectly. When the last World of Warcraft expansion came out, Warlords of Draenor, it pitched a variety of similar features, but Blizzard lost 44% of their subscriber base. This is a company that has been at the pinnacle of MMOs for a decade. Once peaking at 12 million monthly players, is now scrambling to figure out a way to make an engaging game. Seeing how each player pays $15 a month, they lost $900 million that year alone. An even better example of companies ignoring this trend would be DICE's Star Wars Battlefront 3. The Battlefront series was the jewel of party games in the 2000s, providing simple combat, intuitive controls, and lighthearted fun. Pandemic Studios produced Battlefront in 2004 and the sequel the next year, but the series never extended to the next generation of consoles. That's when DICE decided to revive the game by producing Star Wars Battlefront 3 in 2015. Though the game was gorgeous compared to its predecessor, it only came with a handful of maps and game types, versus the dozens who were given in the originals. Battlefront 3 was also filled with a multitude of glitches and was obviously an unfinished game. A few months after its initial release, downloadable content came out that gave you the rest of the maps. Of course, to experience this content, it doubled the price of the game. It's disappointing to see fans being forced to pay more for less content. Not through the limitations of what's possible, we've never been more capable of breaking the norm, but through the complete disregard of an actual creative process, giving the fans something of substance. These people love the worlds these companies have made and have habitually invested in these golden eggs. Yet every year, we are given more DLCs and in-game purchases. It's disrespectful. Look, I'm not trying to say that these games have no value at all, because that's not true. Here are the collective hours I put in each of these franchises, respectively. The experiences I've had with these games have significantly impacted my childhood, making it hard for me to see this industry become lazy, because we all know these companies could be doing better.